welcome. We're gonna wait for people to arrive.
The first one is there. Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Hi, hello.
Good morning.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
Bonjour. I tried my best.
And then you have to put brioche and crepes somewhere.
In between our face, yeah.
Hi everyone.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Cuckoo.
You can say in the chat, maybe you can say how you're doing today and also where you're from. We are well, and we're in Berlin, and it's very sunny today. This is awesome. Snowy, but sunny.
It's really bright here because of the snow and the light and the sun.
Yeah. Can you hear well? Is the sound okay?
Good. Looks like it. It's great to see you all, so many people.
Yeah.
And it's growing.
So, today we're gonna talk about love. Ah, merci. Okay. They're here well. We're gonna talk about love because apparently this is Valentine's Day. Although this is everyday Valentine's Day. Every day is an opportunity to celebrate love. But we noticed that there is so much happening this week, so we wanted also to share some stuff about love because it's been a while. Some of you already did Conscious Loving, which is a program that we gave for free in October 2019. So it's been almost a year and a half. A year and a half. And we know that there is 1,000 people who participated in Conscious Loving, so it's very beautiful. And some people afterwards changed their relationship or found someone, and we have very beautiful testimonials from people who actually changed some things in their love lives after doing Conscious Loving. So thank you for sharing, and that makes us very happy.
It's still live, so if you want to participate, you can always start the course. You don't have to be in a relationship, you can be single, you can be in a triad, however you want. Everyone is welcome to participate in this journal course.
Yeah, it's in French and in English, so you can find it in both languages. So maybe just as an introduction, because maybe some people know Christian and not me, or vice versa. So I'm Anne-Claire, I'm French, and I live in Berlin because I'm in love with him. Otherwise, I would be in the tropics. It's also because of the lockdown. It's not only you. And yeah, I've been in love with Christian for how long? 2 years. 2 years and more, and we're gonna talk about it afterwards.
About our story.
Yeah. And you want to say who you are?
Yeah, I'm Christian, and I met Anne-Claire 2.5, 3 years ago, right? Probably almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm a breathwork facilitator. I'm also a coach, and I still have a corporate job that I'm working right now in. I just resigned from this job and still have 3 months to go, so it's a really exciting time right now for me. And it's also somehow a rite of passage for me, so stepping into a new role, and for sure this relationship brought me there, and it's also supporting me in this.
Yeah, becoming an entrepreneur. It's awesome. So we have a few things we want to share with you, and then we will answer the questions that we have received. Feel free to ask any question that you have in the chat, and we will answer it. So first of all, we would like to share that it's possible to find someone to be happy with, and that it's not so difficult, and that we can be stronger together and happier together without making too much drama. Because we both notice that there's a lot of drama in the love stories, but this is not how we experience love. We experience love in a more quiet way and peaceful way, and we would like to share these vibes with whoever wants to do that too for his life.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, that doesn't mean that we didn't have in the past relationships which were a bit more how to say, chaotic or more complicated. Where we find ourselves right now is in a really balanced state. And this for sure has to do with some things that we are doing, but also I believe it also has to do with our personality types, that we just somehow a good fit naturally.
Yes, we are. Yeah. We did Conscious Loving, the program that we were talking about, because there's a lot of programming regarding love. There is a lot of things that we learned from the society, from our families, from Disney movies, from a lot of sources which are distorted and which are giving us an idea of love which is not okay, because this is leading to suffering. And there is a way to get out of this. This is getting more connected to your own truth and to your heart, and witnessing more and more your neurotic behaviors when you tend to have to be either kind of trying to control the person or be yourself controlled, because this is somehow something that makes you feel comfortable. All of those things, these are things that you can learn about yourself so that you don't get tricked into sleeping this way, because this is the road to suffering. But there is another way to love, and another way which is very different, which is very much more peaceful.
Yes, and I think what helped us, in the beginning of the relationship, but also to create this Conscious Loving program, was to read a lot around relationships, right? I mean, there are 3 books that come top of my mind that we read right in the beginning of our relationship, which were Conscious Loving. Yeah. What was it called? The Mastery of Love.
Yeah.
By Don Miguel Ruiz. Really, really well written. Highly can recommend this one. It's an easy read. And the other one was More Than Two.
Yeah, More Than Two. We'll come to that.
Yeah, which is also really interesting, because it's talking a lot about communication and transparency. So it was super valuable to read this book.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a bit about how we are similar together and also how we are different. We are both hermits. This is how we say in English. We're both very much introverts in the way we behave. Like, we like to be in our bubble, not to see too many people. Although maybe I'm a bit more extravert in my work, because I've been working on that for a while now, going on social media and creating stuff to the world. But this was not natural to me. It's something that I've learned to grow as a skill for having an impact in the world. Naturally, I was more introvert and I was more in my cave. As a little girl, I was reading a lot of books, and I was not very outgoing, and I was not very much, that was not my type. So I learned how to step out of my comfort zone so that I get more and more comfortable with this, getting better. And so we are both introverts.
Yeah, exactly. And what you mentioned, this was helping you, this job that you're doing, to step actually out of your comfort zone. And I think if both people are introverts, then it can be tricky to find someone who's actually bringing you out of your comfort zone. But because we are both working in this field where we have to, for example, talk in front of people, it's something that is actually only pushing us automatically out of our comfort zone, which is really, really healthy for our personal growth.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes I push you too hard. We are both open-minded, and we are open to anything. Like we watch stuff about a lot of stuff. We've been watching a lot of stuff about aliens and a lot of different things. We love to inquire very different topics, and this is something we share. being not judgmental, and just whenever we find new stuff, we're just excited and curious.
Yeah, exactly. I think we are really curious people. We have our nerdy stuff that we dive into. Some are similar. We have some similarities in some topics, but there are also other topics where we are not so similar, because I'm, for example, really interested in Jungian psychology, which you are not so much.
Not so much.
And you have also other things that you're more interested than me.
Yeah, manifestation babe.
Exactly, manifestation babe.
Okay. We are both very grateful. So I don't know how many times we say thank you during the day, but it's probably hundreds of times. Like, we're very grateful for everything that we have, for everything that we are, for everything that we do for each other. We say thank you all the time.
Yeah, this also reminds me of something that I was reading a while ago. I think it's already a year ago, and I probably also shared it with you. There was someone, an expert on relationships, who said one of the most important indicator for a healthy relationship is saying thank you and being truly thankful for what the person's bringing to your life.
Yeah, I think it's something that we could easily forget, because when we spend so much time together, especially in lockdown, and when you work at home and when you're always together, you think some things are in the end natural, and you don't even look at them anymore. But we keep on having the eyes open and looking at them, and still being grateful for them.
Yes, I think the lockdown, it's actually an interesting topic, because when we moved in together last year, we were basically in a really small apartment where we didn't have our own space, which was working well, I would say.
Yeah.
But actually now having also still a shared space, we also have our own offices. And this is really important, I think. This was really important for both of us, that we have some space where we can give a creative expression to. And this was our own rooms, for example, or also a space where we can retreat if we need some time to do our own stuff, or if we need some headspace for ourselves.
Yeah, it was a source of stress at some point last year when we were looking for another apartment in Berlin, because Christian is very tidy, and I like it, and I'm very messy, and I like it. So the problem when you have only one bedroom and one living room is that when you work there, at some point there are stuff everywhere, and I like my messiness. And now that we have two offices, each has his office, my office can be as messy as I want, and we are in his office because it was easier today. I didn't have to clean.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. It's true. I mean, there's also a bit of compensation happening in my room sometimes, I think. If I see, for example, that the living room is a bit messy, then my room is even more tidy. But it's okay.
It's okay.
It's for sure something that I easily can tolerate, because I think it's not overwhelming messy in our space.
No, it's okay, because it's quite
fine,
spacious. The apartment we found is quite spacious, so
exactly,
yeah. We are creative, individually and also together. We work a lot on being creative with situations and with circumstances and with people, so that we don't get stuck in one way of thinking things, and we try to find other ways, other perspectives. So I think it comes from the fact that we're both coaches. So, and in coaching, we are looking for other ways to see things, so that we can just find another road.
Yeah, exactly. And also to take a look inside, right? What's happening inside, not only what's happening on the outside. And this can sometimes look a bit it can make you maybe sometimes angry, but if you then look inside, you oftentimes see that this is has something to do with yourself, with your own inner fight that you have.
Yeah. And another thing is that we don't need each other to get out of solitude. which means we are at peace with being in solitude. We actually like that. I used to like being alone and living alone, and Christian, you liked it too. So we were not looking for someone to break the solitude. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Important.
Yeah, we were totally fine being on our own, as introvert as we are. It was really, I think this is at least helping me in all my past relationships, that I was quite independent, and that I was totally fine to be on my own for a week or maybe even for more. That it was not that I experienced some kind of loneliness during this time.
Yeah. And then we're also different. So we already said that I'm messy and he's more tidy. Maybe this is the German thing, I don't know. It's possible.
No, not necessarily.
And also we have also different schedule, because we are very different in that way.
Yeah, I'm absolutely an early bird. I also have to get up early so that I actually can find some time for myself, because as I already said, that this is something that's really important to actually both of us, to have some time for ourselves as well. And so I normally get up 2 to 3 hours earlier than you sometimes. Yes. So I start my day at 7 or sometimes at 6 a.m. and use it for just self-care and being by myself, reading, meditation, breathwork, sports, whatsoever.
Journaling,
exactly.
Going out, feeding the squirrels.
We have a squirrel here on the balcony, which you probably have already seen on some stories.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I stay in bed. This is something that I really like to do in the morning. So I wake up when I wake up without an alarm clock. And usually Christian comes see me around 9 or 10, or 8 or 9, more like this. And sometimes he brings me tea, and we just cuddle in the morning before I'm ready to get up. And I get up when I'm ready to get up. I don't like to have something that forces me to get up. I want to feel that it's the right time for me. So we have a very different way to experience the morning.
Yes, and this also includes that I get normally a bit less sleep, which is actually fine for me. I can handle the amount of sleep that I have, and I think you have a good amount.
Yes.
A really good amount of sleep.
I'm catching up from the years of insomnia.
Yeah, and I always catch up on a Sunday when I sleep longer.
Yeah, and in the evening it also changes a lot, because I'm more of an evening person. Like, my brain is on fire in the evening. I can create, I have ideas, and Christian is sleepy from pretty early in the evening.
Yes, exactly, and this actually also brings us maybe to an interesting point, because there's oftentimes I can sense that you're really active in the evening, that your mind is really working
and I'm talking.
Go to bed. You're still talking about business ideas, and I'm actually the opposite. So in the evening I really have to calm down to be able to have a proper sleep. It's not like it just makes click for me and I sleep. I really need this time to go down, to go relaxed and calm. And sometimes I have to say to you, like, I think this is too much right now for me. And this brings us to the topic of transparency, so that you are really transparent on how you feel and what you actually need. And for me, how I feel in the evening is oftentimes exhausted, and that my need is that I want to calm down to be ready for bed. And this is what I then communicate really clearly.
Yeah. Thank you.
And this is totally fine for you, right?
Yeah,
you
it's totally fine for me.
Or anything that you think, oh, he is not interested in what I'm doing. It's not the case.
No. Of course. No, I don't interpret it in another way than what it is, which is just a tired man who wants to go to sleep. And actually we did it again yesterday night, because I had a coaching session until 9 p.m. And then I was on fire, because I have all these ideas for trainings that I want to give birth to. And then I carried that all the way to bed, and you fell asleep at 10. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna do that. And then you fell asleep and I was still working from the bed in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. This happens, yeah.
Yeah. But there is a lot of respect for each other schedule. Like, I know how important it is for him in the morning, and he knows also how important it is to me to fulfill my passion, my vocation, and who I truly am inside. So I remember in the past, I have been in relationships where I was carrying the guilt of working in the evening. And I can feel sometimes that I still have the tendency to apologize too much. Like, I'm so sorry, I really need to finish something, because there is a part of me which is scared that he gets upset at me because I'm working too late. And then I'm always amazed because his reaction is never being upset. It's always how I can support you. You have to finish late, you have things to do. What can I do? Can I bring you a cup of tea? How can I make your life easier? Which is something I haven't been used to, because in the past I was more like, okay, I will hurry. Okay, you want me to prove you that I love you, so I will finish early, but I'm not actually done, so I'm upset at myself. And there was all these mixed feelings before, which I'm not experiencing in this relationship, because we are more straightforward and we know that we love each other. And if I stay up late to work, it just supports me and is happy for me that I have ideas. So it will help me to be in a good position for myself. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it can also be that that I go earlier to bed.
Yeah.
Right? If your brain is on fire, and I know that you will probably stay awake for the next 3 hours, then I also take the step and go to bed alone, and
yeah,
it's totally fine for both of us.
Yeah. What I feel that you bring also to me is more calmness and more life balance, because in my energy I tend to be very young, yeah, more in the masculine energy, because I love to work, I love to do stuff. But when I'm with him, I'm more in my feminine energy, so it allows me to slow down, it allows me to do more. I can do like apple tarts and being more quiet and being more like a family-oriented person, family of two. And yeah, I really like it too, because it helps me slow down and actually go to bed earlier too. Because if I would be by myself, I would be up every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and this is also, I think, really interesting to see what you project on the other person. For example, you projected on me the calmness, the steadiness and so on, and what you knew for yourself, that this is actually also really important, that you actually also integrated in your own personality.
Yeah.
That you do things that actually calm you down and that brings you more in the feminine energy. For example, you're taking care of being calm, or just self-care, right?
Yeah.
And for me, what I projected on you, which is part of me, which I haven't integrated back then, was that you are really independent in a way you work, so that you're earning your own business, that you're not working for companies, that you're creating, that you're running your own business, which was really inspiring for me to see. But at the same time, I also knew that this is a part in me which wants to be integrated, because if I would have stayed projecting this one on you, I would have these expectations for you to fulfill.
Yeah.
And instead I'm trying to actually integrate it for myself, so stepping up my game and being my own boss, and getting my own money and not depend on a company, and creating stuff.
Yeah, this is very important, because so many people get together because there is a missing piece within themselves. So they're just trying to find the missing piece in the relationship, which is good, because this is why we're attracted to someone. So this is, I think we also in a way complete each other and try to grow with having those relationships. But then we get stuck if we don't realize that this is something we need to actually nurture within ourselves. So to me, yes, more quietness, more self-care, more taking the time, more being in my feminine energy without having someone to remind me of that. Yeah, still working on that.
Yeah. We're both. It's a journey.
Yes. Yes, and there is one more thing before the questions. We are constantly changing, and we are accepting that the other one is also constantly changing. So I'm not expecting that Christian is staying the same, and I really don't want to stay the same woman. I'm always a different woman, and I know the woman I can be, and I really want to give her the space to blossom and to be whoever she wants to be. And I'm not letting no man preventing me from being the woman that I want to be. So this is very important to me, as well as for you.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Like being authentic, it's really important for both of us. And I mean, I think this is the only way to really find some inner happiness as well, and some inner meaning in your life, right? To look inside and see, okay, what wants to be actually lived, what wants to be integrated, what are your inner needs and inner demands, and not so much looking in the outside and seeing, okay, what kind of role do I now have to fulfill?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're supporting this blossoming and this ability to change. And when you have someone that is witnessing your change with love and with patience and with support, it changes a lot, because it gives you a container so that you can allow yourself to try stuff, to fail at stuff, to try again. And you're not alone in this. And this is beautiful. This is what we've created.
Yeah, exactly. A relationship can be such a powerful container for personal development, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, can also be really tricky for many people to actually evolve and be more authentic to themselves in a relationship, because they are so much projecting other things to the other person, or believe they have to fulfill a certain role, which is more blocking than actually supporting your personal growth, obviously. Yeah, I think most of the time it's just because we are attached to an image of how love should be, and how the other person should be, and how the relationship should be. And on the opposite, we're just taking a bet that life is on our side, and that life will help us to grow, whatever it brings. So there is faith, there is trust in the process. Do you have anything you want to add before the questions? No, you can jump to the questions. I think this will come up anyways.
Okay. So we will start answering the questions that we have received, and if you have other questions regarding love, you can also put them in the chat. So the first one we got is from Karine, and she said, how to overcome the fear to love a man. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, do you want to start? Or?
Yeah, I thought about something when I read the question, which is this fear to love a man. It would be interesting to know where it comes from, and to go maybe to therapy and really inquire what's the source of that, and also get to the journey of growing your inner security, feeling safe by yourself, and feeling safe whoever is next to you, and being able to really bring the safety in your heart and in your energy field, so that you're not afraid of giving up a little bit of your safety or your vulnerability to someone when you meet someone. This is an inner work journey. Yeah.
Yes, and you really have to feel this trust in yourself, in your bones. So there's a different knowing, right? You can understand it on an intellectual level, what it means to trust someone, but it's something differently if you really feel it in your body. And this is important for every relationship, especially in the beginning, and then obviously it's always important. And it was super, super important for us in the beginning, because we were in a long distance relationship, and we were in an open relationship. So meaning that there were so many variables which we couldn't control because we were in this long distance and open relationship, that it was even more important to actually find the trust in life and in yourself.
Yeah, so this is a journey of safety, and also of maybe it's also the journey of autonomy. There is something about, because somehow I attach safety and autonomy together also. I know that I felt very unsafe before with men, and I worked on it through transgenerational work with a therapist, because the women of my family, especially my grandmothers, but also other women in my family, have been abused and have been really carrying heavy trauma. And I come from a family where we don't talk about those things, but I knew they were there, and I knew I had to do something if I didn't want to carry that my whole life, and if I didn't want to have this fear of men always. So I had to free myself from that. If you want a name, I worked with Ameyo Malm, and her website is called Relaxation Shindo, and she's awesome. But there are many people who are doing that. I think it's very important. And then it helped me step into my autonomy. And then I was hyper autonomous because I wanted to defend my autonomy at any cost. And this is one of the challenges also that we've had together, which was giving up a bit of my autonomy so that I can step into more interdependence and being, of course, when we're together, we depend on some things because we are a couple. But I'm still autonomous in a way, but I'm also depending on him. But this is more healthy than what I was experiencing before as hyper-autonomous person.
One thing comes up for me here, that you back then only had this insight that you, to be able to be in a relationship, in a healthy, balanced relationship, you have to give up a bit of your own control, right? And be able to surrender. You already had this insight, so it was not really a conflict in the relationship at this point. It was more your own personal inner conflict, and I was there basically to just hold the space for you and listen to you and being mindful of what's going on in you.
You did it beautifully. I was scared, but not too scared, and not for a long time. Hi, Caroline. Okay, maybe we'll do this one. How did we meet? Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, so we basically met in Bali in 2018.
Yeah,
2018.
2018, August.
Yeah, we met in Bali. I was at the moment on sabbatical, and you were traveling. You were living in Bali for a couple of months.
4 months.
We basically met there one night in an ecstatic dance, and we spent the last 2 days that I stayed in Bali together. And then I had to continue traveling, and because I had to leave Bali because of my visa. And I was then in Thailand, and then back in Berlin 1 month later. It was a bit of a bumpy road, maybe not even bumpy road, but it was not super easy, because at this moment I just came out of a relationship, and like a couple of 2 months ago, a month ago before we actually met, I came out of a 3 years long relationship. And for me it was really important that I actually have some time to integrate what was happening in this relationship, and to also find my own path back, because I think I was quite distracted at this time, so I needed some time to step back to find what I actually want in life, but also to integrate what was going on in the past relationships. And it took me a while. It took me a couple of months, but I had this inner knowing that Anne-Claire was actually the right person for me, that we would be a really good fit, But at the same time, there was also such a big blockage in me that I knew, okay, it's not the right time for me right now to step into this relationship. This would not end well if I would have stepped into the relationship at this point, because I was so busy with myself at this point, and it was really, really important that I was busy with myself during this time.
Yeah, and you were very honest about it to me. That didn't prevent me from disappointment, because I was very disappointed. I thought I knew, like I felt that I found him. Like for me, it was like a bit of a manifestation thing that I did, because I felt I called him, that I called a good partner. I made the list of what I was looking for in a partner. I told the universe that I was ready. I bought a dress for going out, the red dress, for going out, and like I was really ready to find him. And then when I found him, it was perfect. And then a few weeks later, it tells me he needs time. And I'm like, no, you don't need time. I know you don't, because we're supposed to be together. but then, yeah, it was a good opportunity, because then I had to look inside of me what was still blocking me. So this is when I actually decided to write a book about love, and to really go inside what was truly important to me, and also to reconcile two things that I thought I could not reconcile together, which is being in a relationship and being happy, and being free. Somehow I still had the conflict, and I still had the blockage, thinking, okay, I want to be committed, but I also want to be free. How am I going to do that? And I didn't know it was possible. And then life showed me. So I started to write the book, and in the same way, in the same time, I met someone else when I was not waiting for him, when he told me that it was not a waiting. When he said, I'm not available, it was just, I'm not available. It was not a promise that he would be available later.
No, because I think this is also quite unfair to do, right? Because you don't know what's happening, right? And it seems so unfair to tell you, oh, wait for me, I will be ready in a couple of months, in a year, or whatsoever. I couldn't tell, right?
No, you didn't know. Yeah. And so I just thought that it was done. And then later on, I met Matthew in Pi, when I was doing the great work with Cairo. And Matthew had a partner, and so I didn't know it was possible to be with someone else, because I've never experienced open relationships before. Although I was very curious about it and I was open-minded about it, it's just that I didn't have the opportunity to try. So that January I met Matthew, and then I started to be his partner. And it was easy, and it was just... it was something that I had not prepared. It just happened. And then a few months later, I met with Jeremy, and I started to be with Jeremy at the same time. And then a few months later, Christian writes me again.
What a timing.
So Christian asks me if he can come visit me in Paris. I was back in Paris after spending some time in Thailand, and I said yes. And then I think I only told you in Paris. Did I tell you before you came, or did I tell you in Paris?
No, I think you told me before.
Yeah, I told you before. Okay. So then the circumstances had changed. So this is interesting to see how life operated here, because I thought I found who I wanted to find, and then it was not available. And then life showed me that there is a way to experience love and still feel free, and still have other experiences, and still a much more open love than I thought I could experience. And then Christian comes back. In a way, at that point, I'm different inside, because I'm not expecting everything from one person, which I used to do, I think, unconsciously, like we often do. And then it really changed something in my mind, like it was big. And then you had to adjust to that.
Yes, exactly. But at this point, I was also already interested in this topic. So I was already listening to podcasts around this topic without knowing that you are actually in a poly relationship or open relationship, or whatever you want to call it. And So I was actually interested in trying it out and see how it actually goes, and and then we basically went into this relationship, and it was a really, really interesting and nurturing time for me, to actually find trust in the relationship and in myself especially, because it was sometimes really challenging for me to know that Anne-Claire was with someone else and was not so available than she normally was for me. But it was a really there were some challenging times, days where I was really struggled. What was helping me was talking about it openly, but not expecting anything from you. And I think this is something that you did really good. You were not promising anything. You were not saying, okay, now I will slow down or anything, but you were really trusting that I find trust in the relationship.
Yeah.
And this is something that happened then over time, after being a couple of times in this dark night where I was really challenged. I found somehow the trust in the relationship and myself.
Yeah. I remember the important thing for me is that you could see that every time I would come back to you, I was still there. And that I was also there when I was not there physically, because I was traveling and that I was spending time with someone else. But I was still committed and I was still there. It was not a way to not be committed, because some people are experiencing multiple relationships in a way of an escape and to not commit to someone. But that's not how we did it. We were, from the beginning, when we decided to be together, there was a commitment to be together.
Yes. Yeah. There was something else I forgot.
Really?
Yeah.
It will come back.
Yeah.
So there was a question about open relationship. Someone asked, there were several questions actually, if we're still in an open relationship. Yes, we are, although we don't have other partners right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is just a life circumstances right now. Right, we are here in a lockdown, so it's not like that we're meeting a lot of new people here. And
we don't meet anyone.
We are also right now super busy with our own stuff that we're building, that we're creating. And right now I don't know where I would find the time for another relationship.
No.
So we are still in an open relationship. But that doesn't mean that we are in another relationship.
Yeah, exactly. In the spirit we are. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll take those questions because it will be easier. Someone asked, what's the definition of a healthy relationship?
Oh.
I would say joy. Joy and...
being in a good relationship with yourself. To be in a good relationship with someone else. I think this is really important. At least this was always really important for me. Yeah,
it starts from you. It starts with you. Yeah. How do we manage conflicts in our couple? This is interesting. It's not the same person. This is Valerie, and also Margot asked the question. This is a question that when we read it, we were like...
when was our last conflict?
We don't fight.
No, we don't have. No, we never had a loud fight. We had complications in our relationship where we had to work on, and we talked openly about what it was, but it never ended up in what I would call, for example, a fight. I think it was always in a quite mature, oftentimes also clumsy way, because back then, and especially in the beginning of the relationship, we were diving really deep into what it actually means to be in a relationship. We were reading a lot, the books that I already mentioned, and from there we already knew some tools that actually could help us in communicating in a more efficient way without putting any judgment to the other person, and still still be the ownership, still have the ownership about your own conflicts. So to look inside of ourselves to see, okay, what is it that is right now triggering me? What is the need that I actually have right now? And where can we maybe find a balance? Where can we maybe have a dance to see, okay, what's now the best way to solve this struggle without that someone is completely losing themselves.
Yeah, and I think we're also very much in a win-win thinking. Like, we want the other one to win as well as we want to win ourselves. So we're always creative in the sense of we're looking for solutions that work for both of us. Mm-hmm. So when you have this mindset, then there is no conflict. There is just, okay, like, what's the situation? How can we make it work? And we don't experience stuff as conflicts. We experience stuff as, okay, life is showing us this. What do we do with it? This is it. So, yeah.
That's really well put, yeah.
Yeah. Our life is quite easy. Sometimes we think about it. We are like, okay, we're pretty easy-minded people now because of the work we did, and also maybe some stuff are natural to us, I don't know, but there's no plates thrown over the house.
Yeah, I think the last time we were thinking about that, we were watching some kind of, or you were watching some kind of romantic movie or something, and oftentimes in these romantic movies you have some complications where we now look at and think, this is interesting how this can be, right? Because I mean, if you would just use the tools that are available out there to communicate, this already makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
So it's really, really valuable if you're in a relationship to work on what it actually means to be in a relationship and to read about it and get more and more knowledge.
Yeah.
Because there's so much, what you already mentioned in the beginning, so many beliefs how relationships should be.
Yeah, this is distorted. Yeah, we can make it simpler. So Steffi asks, why it's you and Claire that joined Christian in Berlin? Why did you choose another place to create something new together? Well, we didn't choose Berlin. It happened because just before I was in Amsterdam, I wanted to go to this dance festival. I want to learn Brazilian zouk.
This is actually a good example on how autonomous we are in a relationship, that you actually can do things like this, for example, by yourself, because I'm not so much interested in dancing. So for you it was totally fine to actually do it by yourself, which actually felt for me really empowering, so that, and also built some trust at this point. Yeah,
we like that. Each is doing his own stuff too. So I was in Amsterdam, and then Christian came for the weekend, and the dance was cancelled because we couldn't, because of this COVID thing. And then we saw that the frontiers would close. So we decided that I would go to Berlin with him to be in lockdown together instead of being apart. And then I never moved. I stayed in Berlin. I have not moved from Berlin except to go meet your parents. I haven't moved from Berlin for almost 1 year already. It's not, I wouldn't say it's really by choice. It's by circumstances. Yeah, because otherwise what we originally planned was to continue traveling, that I would meet him here, he would meet me in Paris, we would meet often in Thailand, where I had found a home and where we could go back and forth to live in Thailand. And then it was stopped. But what we're considering now that Christian has resigned and that he's creating his own business is that within a few months, or maximum at the end of the year, we would go away and to live in another area, more tropical or at least more sunny. So
that's the idea.
Yeah, that's the idea. We're on the way to that. Yeah. I will look at the questions here. How do you know that you are really in... how to know that we are really in love? A question from Diane.
So I would say you should feel it in your body, right? You should feel it in your bones. So you will actually notice it. If you connected with your body, then you should for sure notice that. If it's hard for you to feel it, then there's a different tools to connect with your body again. Just doing movement on a regular basis helps you to connect with your body. But I think it's a really bodily experience, right? Being in love.
Yeah.
Or a sensual experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I find it an interesting question because to me it means that if you don't know it, it means there is no clarity in your mind, and I might be overthinking, like, am I really in love? What is true love?
Yeah.
What if I'm not in love? Or what if blah blah blah? So it's a lot of blah 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 in the head. I think when you know you're in love, it's not a conversation that you have in your head. It's something that happens in your whole being. So it's like, okay, I know, yeah. I love him, or I love her, or I love them. And it's just a knowing. So if you're overthinking it, maybe you can start to question your thoughts. Why are you having those thoughts? Where do they come from? How do they make you feel? Do you want to keep those thoughts? Or do you want to make your life simpler and go back to what you're feeling?
Yes, right. And we are so often caught up in our head, just in this area, and sometimes it just needed to actually move down your body and feel actually what's below your head, and then you will most of the time also experience what it's to be in love.
Yeah. There is also another question here from Marjolaine. What brings you an open relationship versus an exclusive relationship, or what are you looking for with these relationships? For me, it's not that I'm looking for something, it's more that I'm not preventing myself from experiencing other things. I'm not seeking for experiences, but I'm open to the experiences life will bring me for my growth and for my experiences of love. So I will not look for other partners, but if other partners enter my life, I will consider having the experience without narrowing my experience by thinking, no, I choose to be in one relationship and so I cannot experience something else.
Yeah.
So, but this is, I also understand people who want to have only one experience because they have decided and everything. But I think that these decisions are quite often made by the mind, and this is narrowing the possibility of experiencing love in one's life. So, yeah, that's my answer.
Yes, I think this puts it actually already quite well, that we don't want to hinder us from experiencing other things that could actually give us a nice feeling, feeling of expansion, and the excitement of what it actually means to fall in love, which is, everyone knows this feeling, it's amazing, right? So we don't want to hinder us to actually experience these things. And there's one thing that popped up in my head, which is a meme. I think you sent it to me, with the introverts and the conspiracy.
Yeah.
That open relationship is a conspiracy of introverts, because introverts would like to be also on their own, so they're actually happy when the partners, and sometimes also someone else. But I think it's a quite, for me, it's totally fine to be on my own, right? So I can also handle this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember we watched together Stargate. We are watching the seasons of Stargate right now. And there was a woman who met another guy on another planet, and she was in love with him, and she was like, oh no, I can't. And then Christian said, she doesn't know she can.
Oh, yeah, right, I remember. Yeah.
It was awesome. It was so beautiful. Yeah. We're limiting ourselves to one way of loving, but there are so many ways of loving.
And yeah, exactly. There's so many ways, and there's no right or wrong way. If you're in love, then you're in love, And it doesn't mean that we say that polyamory is the ultimate truth of how relationships should be. Absolutely not. No. And it can also be that we at some point we say, okay, now we close the relationship. We are open to all kind of possibilities here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been almost 1 hour. Do you have any last question for us? Do you have something to add?
No, I don't think so, but do you have any
I
question?
think we answered everything because of everything we said before. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't think so. No. Any questions? Yeah, there's one coming up.
Which work have you done to maybe change your beliefs and feel safe by yourself? Well, I can speak for myself. I've done a lot of therapy for many years, just like normal therapy and then transgenerational therapy. And then I did a lot of coaching too, reading books, getting into those love books. Find books about conscious love. Really, you will find many different things. This is much more empowering than everything that we've seen about love. Just empower yourself. Just be curious about how you can do that. And then you will attract those kind of partners. If you are embodying that, then you will also attract a partner who wants that.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm lucky that I never really had struggled to be by myself. But what was helping me to shift beliefs in terms of relationship was reading about topics, how relationships could actually look like, be curious about different forms of relationship, even be curious about what it could be to be in a monogamous relationship that's different than what we normally call a monogamous relationship. Being creative, innovative in the way you think. That was really helping me to shift my beliefs around relationship. But also going back to the root of love. Can you say the root? I'm not sure. Unconditional love, right? Which I experience, and I think many people experience it when they were children, when they were babies, or just in a relationship with your mother or with your father, that they just love you unconditionally. Yeah. And this is something that I always try to reflect in our relationship. That doesn't mean that I'm a master in unconditional love, for sure not, but it's something that is like a guiding light for me in a relationship.
Caroline asks, what is your favorite thing in each other? Thank you for this question. I would say that my favorite thing, on top of everything, I think he's very handsome. So I love looking at him. And then I would say caring. You're very caring.
Yeah, so I would completely agree. I would want to say both things to you as well, caring and your beauty. The other thing is your creative force, to see you in your light, to see you how you act in the world, what you're creating. This is really, really, really admiring and beautiful to see.
Thank you. And then one last question. Thierry, it's a man, who is asking, how about commitment in long term? Is the notion of long-term commitment same than for exclusive relationship?
Let me repeat the question.
Well, I think it's related to what we said about open relationships. My view on love is that you cannot control love. So my view is that I commit today, but I cannot promise to commit my whole life. For me, this is something that is coming from a mental space. I think I'm open to the possibility that the relationship transforms and evolve, whatever form it will take, and I don't want to control that. So that's also why I'm not really into marriage. This is I'm committed, we're committed, there is no doubt about it, but we're not committed to an idea.
Yeah, the idea of we have to stay together for our whole life. In a way, we will stay together for our whole life, because I mean, no matter what happens, I will always carry you in my heart, and the same probably for you. But like really committing to, I think this is a difficult promise.
Yeah, we're committed.
It's a promise
to
that we
support.
can't really do. That we say, okay, we are committed.
Yeah.
For our whole life, for each other.
Yeah, I think it's also different when you want kids, because we don't really want kids. Maybe someday we'll adopt kids, so then it will be maybe a bit different, so that we can create a container for growing the kids and everything. But because it's not a question for us.
Yeah, it's a different commitment, because it's a commitment to family, and here we are committed to relationship, and in this sense, it's a different dynamic and can change. In different ways, and being in a family, it's for sure a different topic. Yeah,
we are definitely committed to help each other being happy, whatever form it will take. So this is a good one. Okay, thank you for your questions. Do you want to add something?
No, I don't think so. Should I add something?
Well, I just want to add that I think we are there because we have asked ourselves the right questions, so that we could make changes and make the shift into being more empowered in our relationships. So I would just suggest that if you're interested in those topics, go inquire books, go do programs, go ask questions to couples who work. Just be curious about it, and just be curious to implement it in your life. Be bold to be the first one in a relationship to say, I would like that. Is it possible to try? And then see what's coming out of this. And just, be bold to be experiencing whatever you want for your love life.
Yeah, exactly. Be curious about relationship, about each other, because it can be such a powerful, transformative container for both of you.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah. So we wish you a lot of love, and if you want to find Conscious Loving, you can find Conscious Loving, which is still for free in French and in English. It's a program. You can find it on my website. It's easy. Is it also on your website?
No, right now not.
No? Okay.
No, but you can also find it on Facebook. You will find a group there, and from the group you will have access to to the program.
You can also find my book. I have a book about love. You can find it on my website too. If you want to work with Christian is doing coaching and also breathwork. When is your next breathwork?
Next week's Thursday at 7 p.m. Central European time. So if anyone wants to join, just check out my linked tree, and you will find all the information there.
Yeah, awesome. And thank you. We wish you a lot of love, and lots of joy and happiness on your own terms.
Lots of love, everyone.
Bye bye. Happy weekend.